As Team Trump takes shape, big tech is at the center.
I feel like the Musk-Trump collaboration there is going to help to preserve the right for Americans to speak freely.
What the new leadership means for business in Silicon Valley.
What we need is smart regulation.
Today, we're asking what the new cabinet might do and who might benefit.
Conflicts of interest, it's hard to know where they start and where they end.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Elizabeth Cook.
I'm Ann Makovec in for Liz, and as we've been reporting, President Trump is picking his team. Some of them are critics of big tech, which could have impacts, obviously, here in Silicon Valley, be that potential new rules or the easing of regulations. President-elect Trump's pick for Attorney General facing a tough road to Senate confirmation. That is because former Congressman Matt Gaetz has been dogged by allegations of sexual misconduct. As Tori and Small reports, Gaetz was back on the Hill today to try to smooth things over with senators, while his former colleagues discussed whether to release their report looking into the accusations against him.
The House Ethics Committee ended a closed-door meeting deadlocked about whether to release its report on former Congressman Matt Gaetz, President-elect Trump's pick for Attorney General.
The committee no longer has jurisdiction over the issue, so I disagree with the release of the information.
There was no consensus on this issue. We did agree that we would reconvene as a committee on December 5th to further consider this matter.
At the same time, Vice President-elect J.D. Vance escorted Gaetz to meetings with senators weighing his confirmation.
I want to get to know him. I don't know him that well.
The ethics panel investigated a number of allegations against Gaetz, including sexual misconduct. He's denied doing anything wrong or illegal. Trump, in an apparent reference to Gaetz, posted on social media, "This is what the radical left lunatics do to people. They dirty them up, they destroy them, and then they spit them out. They are trying that right now with some great American patriots." Gaetz faces an uphill battle to win confirmation, but Trump is confident the Senate's new Republican majority will pull him through.
He seems optimistic about it. He didn't... he didn't seem concerned, but he also didn't seem anxious about it.
Trump hasn't ruled out trying to bypass Senate confirmation with a recess appointment.
The president has won a mandate, and he will use all lawful constitutional means to fulfill that mandate on behalf of the people who voted for him in record numbers.
That would not sit well with many senators.
Not for a cabinet-level position. That should be absolutely off the table.
Fox News host Pete Hegseth, Trump's pick to head up the Pentagon, is also meeting with senators.
Hegseth admits that he did settle a lawsuit with a woman who accused him of sexual assault to keep the allegation, which he denies, from ruining his career. Stay with us for more on the Trump transition. And coming up, we're going to take a closer look at his picks and their history with the tech sector and the potential impact on Silicon Valley if they are indeed confirmed. Continuing our conversation now on President-elect Trump's transition team and what it means for big tech. He has picked people who have called for tighter regulations. That includes Trump's pick for FCC Chairman Brendan Carr. He wrote the Project 2025 chapter on the agency. He's argued for more regulation against tech companies like Meta and Google. Meanwhile, Trump's pick to run the Justice Department, Matt Gaetz, could look to crack down on tech companies if he is confirmed. The former Republican congressman has been a staunch critic of big tech, aligning more closely with the Biden administration on antitrust enforcement efforts. Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk is also expected to have a significant role in the Trump administration, and that's raising some questions of possible conflicts of interest, given his companies have already signed off on more than $13 billion in government contracts. Musk is set to co-chair the administration's newly formed Department of Government Efficiency. He said that some regulations, like those against SpaceX's commercial rocket launches, are slowing down technological growth.
Elon Musk is obviously very influential. He also has a lot of government contracts. Conflicts of interest, it's hard to know where they start and where they end.
Tesla laid off more than 10% of its global workforce in April. Back then, Musk wrote to employees that he wanted to cut costs and increase productivity. Well, joining me now to talk about it all is Dr. Olaf Groth, a public policy professor with Berkley Haas School of Business. Thanks for being with us.
Good to see you, Ann.
Let's start with Elon Musk. Do you think these big government contracts he has, do you think that's going to create a conflict of interest?
Well, I definitely think there's ground for investigation on conflict of interest, but I don't think that's going to stop the administration from giving him a meaningful role. And that doesn't just include SpaceX, of course. That includes other companies like his satellite network, which is providing satellite services to Ukraine, amongst others. Skylink, sorry. And so there are some grants that were denied previously that are coming back most likely. So yeah, I think there'll be a lot of reason to be concerned.
And then, of course, there's social media. There's Twitter, which he is the head of. It's getting even more popular with conservatives. Do you see any changes in regulation there?
So that's going to be the big one here, right? Because the administration can be expected to revise Section 230, which gives the big tech companies some carve-outs from being liable for third-party content. And that if that actually gets softened, then that will be a problem for X or for Twitter, as it were. And so, yeah, there's going to be a lot of debate around that as well.
And what about things like Facebook and Instagram? A lot of conservatives have complained that they're censoring free speech by basically trying to hold down on some conservative or Republican voices.
Well, in fact, that is what some are saying, that is why 230 needs to be rolled back. And people like Brendan Carr, who just got nominated as chair of the FCC, are also not in favor of free speech inhibiting regulation. So big tech, and by that I mean consumer-facing tech like Google, like Meta, to lesser degree maybe Amazon, and certainly Apple, are going to be subject to some of those new regulations or deregulations.
And then we have TikTok. That's been a real hot topic this year, with Congress talking about maybe trying to even ban it in the U.S. because of its connections with China. What do you foresee there?
So I think TikTok, the topic of TikTok is back on the table. The previous administration was not really willing to go all the way. I think that's going to be different for the Trump administration, because Trump is going to muster any and all ammunition against or in his negotiations with Xi Jinping in Beijing. Xi himself is very focused on stability so he can get a grip on higher growth again in China. So he's going to try to avoid many more upsets on the trade and investment front. And TikTok will be used as a leverage instrument. I do believe that if the administration actually regulates big tech more broadly, even within the United States, then it's going to be easier to make TikTok an issue, because they can say, look, we're treating everybody the same.
And of course, the incoming VP has got a background in tech. How much do you think President Trump is going to rely on his expertise rather than do his own thing?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a very powerful quad, as it were, a power quad that is going to march in lockstep, unless, of course, they have a big falling out of big egos. And that is Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, who is also a former entrepreneur, and then, of course, Vance, as well as Brendan Carr. And I think those four will have outsized influence, supported by Howard Lutkin, who will be heading the Commerce Department, and who I think shares some of the same views. And so, yes, I think Musk and Vance in that duo, in that quad, will have outside influence.
All right. And the administration is not even yet in power. We have a lot to talk about and follow, and we appreciate you and your expertise, Dr. Olaf Groth. We're going to be right back.
Experience tonight at 7:30. The Bay Area Events Calendar, brought to you by Broadway San Jose.
Here's what's happening in the Bay Area this weekend. For one night only, San Jose's Drive-Through Christmas in the Park will be a bike-through event. Cyclists will be able to pedal their way through the spectacular light displays at History Park San Jose. And comedian Dave Chappelle and rapper Killer Mike are at Oakland's Paramount Theater. It's one of the only 7 stops on their nationwide tour. Come From Away begins tomorrow at the San Jose Center for the Performing Arts. Download the Broadway San Jose app to enter the digital lottery today. Great seats are still available at BroadwaySanJose.com. The Bay Area event calendar is brought to you by BroadwaySanJose.com.
Thanks for watching. You can always get all the latest headlines and weather over on Pix Plus. And remember to like and click the button on the bottom left of your screen to subscribe for the biggest Bay Area news.